Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you.
Got a busy Monday for you on the Sports Blitz. Can't wait to dive into the local sports as well as college football and who's going to be the next coach at Is it John Gruden going to coach at Arkansas? We'll debate all the coaching carousel moves and plenty more on today's show.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Boys and girls, we got a packed show today. We're glad you've chosen to join us. RiverValleyLeader.com. Get involved with us today on the show. Facebook.com/RVL News. Facebook.com/SportsBlitz. Mark Freeman, Weldon, Braxton here in the River Valley Leader Studio. Weldon, lots of stuff happened locally. The high school football season ended for all the local teams around the area. But that wasn't even the biggest news of the weekend.
Man, what happened in college football? I went out a little bit Saturday night to unwind, and, I kind of kept an eye on the college football games. What's Kansas State doing? What's going on with Oregon? And I get home just as those games are ending, and now we have complete chaos. And, Mark, your Alabama Crimson Tide are now back in the national title picture.
They are. It's not exactly what I predicted and expected this year, as I figured that Alabama, after the first couple games, I thought they're much better than anybody else, and they're just going to run away with it. Well, Texas A&M proved me to be wrong, but thank you to Kansas State and Baylor in that game. The Baylor Bears took out Kansas State, and then Stanford took out Oregon, and we'll debate here in just a little bit about the college football season and the craziness that ensued on Saturday, as well as the coaching carousel. And we've asked today on the Sports Blitz Facebook question, poll question. It's the Honda of Russellville poll question: with the coaching carousel spinning wildly, what will it take as far as coaching attributes to win at Arkansas? So we want to know what you have to say. Go to Facebook.com/SportsBlitz and let us know what you think. But, well, as we teased just a moment ago, the high school football season ended for the local teams. Every one of them, all four of them that played on Friday night, fell. Some closer than others, but it was a tough way to go out for some of these teams. Now it's basketball season.
Yeah, basketball season in full swing, Mark. And as we move forward and look ahead to what's going on the court, certainly we want to go ahead and acknowledge our football teams that fell, and they played their hearts out too. I mean, I'm just thinking about Pottsville. Obviously, that was the more devastating. They were up 28-12, then Prairie Grove just marches back. A few errors on Pottsville's behalf, but you just hate it because we said here on Friday, Mark, and we said Pottsville's got a chance to go up there and beat Prairie Grove, even though they're undefeated and they're the conference champs up there and everything. We knew they had a chance, and they really controlled that game. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold on in the end.
Yeah, you got to give Prairie Grove a lot of credit. They played well on the defensive end in the second half, and then their offense just really came alive as Pottsville had shut them down for the most part in the first half, and it was a pretty good defensive game. Pottsville, I believe, was up 14-12 at the half, came out and scored a couple touchdowns real quickly to go up 28-12, and then Prairie Grove just turned it on, and they were able to stop Pottsville, get a couple key turnovers in situations where Pottsville could have made a better play, and they weren't able to make it, and Prairie Grove was able to win the game. The Dardanelle Sand Lizards fell to Stuttgart. The Lamar Warriors fell at Harding Academy, and the Morrilton Devil Dogs fell to win. So the final analysis is we had four teams in the second round of the playoffs, all of them on the road, I do believe, but each one of them had great seasons, and they had a chance to do something special. They all hosted a home playoff game in the first round and got wins, so they've got something that they can send those seniors out with.
Yeah, I mean, and I think looking ahead to 2013, I know a lot of these teams have players coming back. I know Russellville, for a fact, they've got a good group coming back too. So, 2013 for River Valley football will certainly be something to watch as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Now it's my favorite time of year. As a Clarksville Panther fan, it's basketball season. Can't wait.
It's not baseball season.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate baseball so much. It is basketball season and get to watch my Panthers play as often as I can. And got to go to the gym yesterday while my wife was doing human video practice at the church and shoot a little bit and watch the guys just run up and down scrimmage. They're pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
They're all right.
Not bad, huh?
They're okay.
They won't finish last in conference, will they?
No, they're probably not going to finish last. And if the stuff that I've seen on Fearless Friday gets out to the team, which things have a way of making their way.
Let's get it
players,
out right now.
I think that they could have a little extra motivation as people are bashing them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a message board guy at all. In fact, I despise this whole message board concept. But I did glance the other day, and I read a few of these things too, and I can understand. They're saying, hey, this little 4A team isn't going to come up and beat us, but you better recognize this Clarksville Panther basketball team can play. I know people like Harrison have size. I know Alma and Greenwood, they've been competitive and they've been good, although Greenwood's up in 6A now, but still, you better watch out for these Clarksville Panthers because athletically and speed-wise, I don't see anybody in this conference that can match them. You look big picture at the 5A as a whole, Jacksonville, we'll see what they do with Clarksville, but I just don't see a whole lot in this landscape that could really shut them down.
All right, we'll look forward to over this Thanksgiving holiday. On Thanksgiving Day, I believe it is, they play Jonesboro on the road at the Rumble on the Ridge in Forest City. Always a good tournament. This year, I've heard people talking about that being the biggest tournament in the region. So We'll see if that turns out to be fact. Either way, Clarksville's playing there. I think Little Rock Hall and Parkview are both there. Jacksonville, Jonesboro, Forest City. I mean, it's a big tournament, and the Panthers will get to play against some big, high-quality competition. And we talked about looking out for them this year. There's another team you need to look out for this year, and it's not somebody that I would have expected. After losing all the players that they did last year, you would wonder how the Russellville Cyclones would compete this year. Well, there's a guy named Andy Campbell who's a sophomore who, watch out for Andy Campbell, Cyclone fans. 28 points and 10 rebounds in their first game on Thursday night. The Cyclones beat Hot Springs 62-50. Looks like the Cyclones aren't going to miss too much of a beat with the football guys coming over and guys like Andy Campbell who can just absolutely outright play.
Absolutely. And, when I've looked at this Russellville basketball program, I've gotten a chance to peek from afar at what they've done sort of in 8th and 9th grade over the last few years, and they've been pretty good. They've had some pretty good players, and now those guys are up in high school. And it just speaks to the point that I always make. You can't have a great high school program without having a great foundation in 7th, 8th grade and on up. And you see that when teams who are able to sustain winning year after year. It's not hard to have a one-hit wonder every few years, every 5 or 6 years, but if you're winning year after year after year and competitive, that means you have a program going, you have a great cycle, and hopefully Russellville has that in place.
Yeah, Coach Mann's doing a good job there. They got some football guys who've come over, and they're going to make an impact. Kentrell Scott, Jalen Curtis. I've heard of a couple of these guys who have made an impact already. Yeah. So it looks like the Cyclones are going to be in good shape. Can't wait to watch for basketball season. You've got the Pottsville Apaches who they've now got 3 of their starters at least that have come over. I say at least. I was talking to Garrett Hill the other day about it, Coach Hill at Pottsville, and he was talking about how they have at least 2 starters. Michael Perry's going to start no matter what.
Right.
It looks like Tyler Weaver will probably start no matter what. Then you've got McAnulty and other guys who drew a blank there. Some other guys who are going to contribute for the Pottsville basketball team. You've got football guys now that can come over and make that impact, and it's full swing, full speed ahead in basketball season now.
Yeah, and that's really important for somewhere like Pottsville, even more so than Russellville, because if I'm not mistaken, Mark, in the 4A, they start conference play before Christmas, right? Before Christmas
break.
Normally
have a little teaser where they play a couple games or maybe even just one game in conference, and then they go to the break.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important. You look look at the bigger schools like Russellville, they'll start conference play after the break and everything. So I think when you're in that 4A conference, you got to be hitting on all cylinders a little bit early. So, again, we talked about how unfortunate it was that Pottsville lost in football, but at least they get things going now with a full basketball squad.
Yeah, they would have liked to have had their guys out a couple more weeks playing well in the football season, but they'll take it. They'll take these guys over there on the I'm speaking of the basketball coaches. They'll take having those guys back over there on the basketball floor, helping them out. Couple other news and notes. The Arkansas Tech Golden Suns in volleyball made it all the way to the GAC championship game once again. They matched up with Harding, who they defeated last year. This year, Harding takes them out in volleyball in the championship match. So congratulations to the Golden Suns. They go through and win the championship last year. They lose in the finals this year. Nothing to really be upset about for the Golden Suns. Of course, I'm sure they are upset, but it's they can hold their heads high and know that they've played very well. And through 2 seasons of the GAC, they've been in the finals both years. Yeah,
I mean, you can't overlook what Arkansas Tech's done. And it just seems like Harding is just one of those years where Harding had Arkansas Tech's number. I know they beat them a few weeks ago. Then, of course, Tech, as you mentioned, they get all the way to the championship and lose. I know Coach Byer and that group, they do an outstanding job. And you just hate to get that close and lose, but still, you have to look at things in its totality. And this Golden Sun volleyball program, I mean, they're at an elite level.
They're definitely one of the better teams in this Division II level, especially in the GAC. Congratulations, Coach Christy Byer, the seniors, who did a very good job and have nothing to hang their heads about. Also at Arkansas Tech, in other news, we mentioned on Friday that Coach Steve Mullins has resigned. You almost want to call it a retirement from football because it's not like he's not getting the job done. He's done a pretty good job with the football team, but he's been at it for a long time. He's been the athletic director for a long time. He's going to stay in that capacity. No longer going to be the football coach, though.
Yeah, and you mentioned the word retirement. I kind of like to put it that way, too, because, again, all the outstanding things he's done for this program, and, again, we understand it from pretty reliable people that this was not a force-out situation. But the only thing I heard now, Mark, was John Gruden was seen at Doc Bryan having lunch.
Oh, Lord.
And so, I mean, there's an opening at Tech, coaching job. John Gruden was seen here in Russellville on campus having lunch. I don't know. You tell me.
Was he having Whataburger or CJ's? I mean,
I think he was having, I don't know what it was. It was something on campus. They probably took him to Whataburger.
He was having Chick-fil-A at Bass Tech, wasn't he?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A. That new Bass Tech place, by the way, is nice.
I've never been in there.
I've been there a couple of times. They've got all kinds of nice restaurants and stuff. But Gruden was there, from what I'm told. He was there.
Your sources are telling you.
With a green tie. Yeah, my reliable sources.
Green ties. He had a gold vest on. It was it was pretty much just a dead giveaway. We're poking fun a little bit at some of the rumors and things that we've heard over the weeks. For those of you that didn't know, John Gruden's going to be Arkansas's next head football coach. $6.1 million a year, which is $800,000 a year, more than Nick Saban makes, who has won 2 national championships at Alabama and 3 overall. Probably going to win another one this year. So yeah, that's the newest rumor. We'll debate the different coaching carousel moves that we think are going to happen. Weldon seems to think there are about 9 NFL teams that could be replacing their coach. So my question, why in the world would a guy like John Gruden, who could go to Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky, or Arkansas in the SEC, a number of different jobs. I think Oregon will probably be open in college football because it looks like Chip Kelly will probably end up going someplace else, probably the NFL, for a lot of money. Oregon possibly available, all these NFL jobs available. Why in the world? And I'm an Arkansas fan, been here a long time. Why in the world would John Gruden come to Arkansas instead? I'm just taking off my Razorback colored glasses and wondering how in the world that seems possible.
I understand it, Mark, and the way I look at it, there's no slight against Arkansas. I think we have a wonderful program. We've got great fans, supportive, and all of that. I think with John Gruden, it's more of an NFL versus college football deal. Now, we can certainly get into which college job he would pick if he were choosing among collegiate teams, but you got to look at the personality of John Gruden. He's a nose to the grindstone, sun-ups to sundown worker. This guy eats, sleeps, and breathes tape, X's and O's. In the NFL, you get that. You don't have to worry about somebody being homesick. you don't really have to worry about somebody failing a chemistry test or being on some type of academic probation or having to go out and recruit and follow all of these rules that half of them are unnecessary. John Gruden is just a football coach. He's a football guy. That's all he is, and I think that's all he'll ever be. So just for him to come to college football, I think would be a whole new set of challenges for him because he is a football guy. Now, I'm not reporting anything or I'm not saying anything to be fact. He may be singing Rocky Top or calling the Hogs here in a couple of weeks. I don't know. I'm just saying from his personality profile, if he were to return to college or to coaching, which is a big if, I think he would be in the NFL.
Guy makes $5.25 million to sit and talk about sports.
And he's good at it,
and he's very good at it. The best, as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
as far at what he does. And he has his coaches, quarterback show. I mean, he's got a pretty cake job right now, and he's making as much as Nick Saban is to not have all the stress and drama that he's going through. So, we'll talk about the coaching carousel here in just a minute. It's a crazy weekend in college football. Not only did the Razorbacks get killed, which we'll talk about very shortly. Yeah, we'll talk about very little today. We've also got the college football craziness as Oregon lost, Kansas State lost, Alabama has found its way back into the national championship picture. It's just a crazy, crazy day on Saturday in college football. We'll talk about that here in just a moment.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval with Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where we have the largest selection of recliners and mattresses in the state of Arkansas. Come visit us at 2609 East Parkway, the Rack Furniture Warehouse.
Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs, all with zero down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval again at Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where Leon and I are back in business. We have gallery selection at quality warehouse prices here at the Rack Furniture Warehouse, 2609 East Parkway, Russellville.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Sports Scene of Arkansas offers a wide variety of sporting goods and apparel to meet any athlete's needs. Coaches love the top-of-the-line equipment that gives their players an edge, and parents and fans can't get enough of the high-quality screen printing that allows them to sport their favorite team's logo on jerseys, bags, and hats. Your one-stop shop for embroidery, banners, and much, much more. Visit your local team sports specialists. Sports Scene at 316 West Main in Russellville.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Welcome back, RiverValleyLeader.com studios. This is the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman, Weldon Braxton in studio, and It is a crazy, crazy time. College football has just gone wild. And as we get ready to talk about the Arkansas Razorbacks game against Mississippi State, we're not going to talk about it very long because they got beat down pretty good, and we weren't really all that excited about the way the game went. So we'll spare you the details of that. But we need to let you know about our Honda of Russellville Black Friday deals that are going to be taking place this Friday. Weldon, we're going to have a Best of show Friday, so we'll be there ourselves. We're not even going to be on the air Friday. Let everybody take a break for the holidays. We'll be at the Black Friday sale at Honda of Russellville, just checking out what they've got. Great deals on everything. Just like everything else, when Black Friday comes around, they give you the best deals because they know that they're going to have just tons and tons of people out shopping.
Oh, yeah. Honda of Russellville. They do a great job. We're happy to have them here as a sponsor. Mark, what's your Black Friday philosophy? You know, there are people now who are camping out already. There are people who are at Best Buy right now, actually a couple of days ago, with a tent, and they're going to stay through Thanksgiving. You're going to save a few bucks, sure, but Lord have mercy.
Yeah, to me, I'm not a big Black Friday guy. Yeah. I don't really want to do it at all, but my wife is making me go to Walmart on, I guess it's Thursday night. They're doing it starting at like 10
o'clock. Yeah, they're doing it early. A protest about that too, by the way. But, they're protesting that. It's crazy. My thing
Who's
is,
they?
Anti-Walmart, whatever. This is like a group of people protesting against Walmart. My thing is, I better be walking out with like a 70-inch TV for like $600 or something.
That's kind of the thought process behind it, and I'm going Thursday night because my wife and I are looking for a new TV for the bedroom, smaller one. So we're going to go brave the craziness. I will elbow somebody in the forehead if I have to get the TV that I want.
Somebody got shot one time over a PS2 or PS3 one
PS3?
time. Yeah, I remember a few years ago.
I'm not about shooting people for a PS3, but if somebody gets in my way, I will throw a bow. There you go. That's just how I roll. We'll see how that goes on Friday, but you'd ought to, if you're interested in the outdoors whatsoever, you ought to go by Honda of Russellville and check out their Black Friday deals. They've got some great ones. We'll post a picture of I say a picture. It's a poster. It's kind of a flyer that they've posted out, sent out Honda of Russellville here in Russellville, obviously. Check out their Black Friday deals. But Weldon, Saturday was, if we thought Friday was crazy with the things that were going on in high school football, Saturday, my college football national champion got back in the mix in the craziest of ways. Kansas State just got blown out by Baylor, couldn't stop anybody. Baylor just went on to destroy them. And then Oregon fell to Stanford. I'll just be honest with you, I thought Oregon was going to work Stanford.
I did too, because let's look at Oregon first, then we'll go to Kansas State. This has typically been a terrible matchup for Stanford. Stanford's always been a team that prides themselves on, hey, we're good defensively, we're physical, we've got good linebackers, we play sound football. But when they get matched up with Oregon, even in the Andrew Luck era, they just have zero shot at stopping Oregon. I mean, Andrew Luck famously said, hey, we don't have a problem on this team. We just have an Oregon problem. That's what we have. And I just think, Mark, it speaks to the bigger picture of this has been one of the most watered down years in college football. And I said this early in the year, and I was talking to people from around that I know and talk to, and they say, come on now, these teams are good. USC is good. Florida State is good. And I'm like, no. I mean, let me just list a short number. I don't even have it written down of the teams that have disappointed. You start out west with USC. 7-5 looks like they're going to be fraudulent. Oregon, overrated. Michigan State, vastly overrated. A top 10 team early in the year. Michigan, no, I'm sorry. Oklahoma, frauds. West Virginia, frauds. Florida State, overrated. LSU, disappointed. I mean, where are the great teams? I was telling you, Mark, Alabama, I like them. They're well coached. But I didn't think, and I still don't believe, that team last year this team isn't nearly as good as last year's. But you know what? They're still the best team because of how bad college football is this year. I'm sorry. It may be fun to watch, but it's just a watered-down year.
I'll get to my thoughts on that here in just a little bit. I kind of agree with you. I was kind of upset with the way the whole college football season's going in general, let alone just the things that I predicted not going the way I wanted them to. So we'll get to that here in just a minute. But we've got Brad Caldwell on the line with this. I don't know how long he's got substituting today. Made a chance to get away and call us. Brad, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Good. How y'all doing?
Doing
Good.
well. I didn't know how long we had, so we needed to get to this. We've been talking about the coaching rumors, and we kind of poke fun a little bit at the John Gruden rumor, and I'll poke holes in it every chance I get until it happens. But what have you heard, and really, what do you believe right now?
I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. I have heard from many different people that are not connected. John Gruden, some have even went out as far as says he will be the next coach. I think some of them are thinking that it's still in the works. If it really is coming down to Arkansas and Tennessee, you'd think Arkansas had the upper hand with the fact that Arkansas had an opening for 8 months, and that there could have been work going down the back channels and stuff like that. If it's really Arkansas and Tennessee for John Gruden, again, it's still almost far-fetched. But at the same time, it's the rumor that won't go away, and that's something that you probably need to watch out for. There's got to be something in the works here, whether it be that they're just talking or that it is actually going to happen the day after the LSU game, which is, I've heard more than one time, is that they will name John Gruden the next coach the day after the LSU game. In fact, Randy Rainwater and Trey Schapp, Marcus Elliott, after the game at Mississippi State, went as far to say as much on their postgame show. So, I mean, obviously there's something there. If it's a smoke screen, then Jeff Long is he's a genius, is all I can say.
Well,
I mean, the guy is absolutely a genius, and Mike Gundy will be the next coach at Arkansas. I mean, I think that would be a very good possibility, that all this stuff is a smoke screen, and after Oklahoma State's last game, then Mike Gundy will be named the coach. That would be, or Patterson.
Would that not be the dumbest? Would that not be the dumbest smokescreen ever, though? Wouldn't you shoot low, and then because John Gruden's the highest name of all of them, you come in below him, and people are going to be disappointed.
Well, the one thing about it is, if you're trying to get a Gundy who's there at Oklahoma State right now, and you've got this big smoke screen out, Arkansas going after John Gruden, and then you sneak up and get Mike Gundy, then it's not so stupid. But yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from as far as the expectations go. Yeah, that would be something. But I think that there are a lot of people out there, and I think, including myself, that if Arkansas got Mike Gundy, who's 33-6 over the last 3 years, I think we would all be happy. If Arkansas could get a name like Gruden, Gundy, Patterson, or somebody out of left field here, I think that we can all be happy with the coaching search right now. And I think something that you need to look at too is what's happened in the last few weeks as far as offenses and what they have done versus the defenses, the big time defenses. Texas A&M went and took down Alabama at Alabama because of the big time offense. Ole Miss went into LSU last Saturday and almost should have beat them. You look at that, and I think that people are starting to look at it and say, well, football's changing some. Last year, Alabama and LSU were the outliers. Their defenses were that good to where there was nobody that could do anything on them. In fact, Arkansas had as much success on them as anybody did, but they were two all-time defenses ever. Now you look at it, and the offenses this year are ruling the day. There's not one team that's just very, 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 very scary like those two teams were last year. So I think Arkansas is probably looking in that direction and saying, well, maybe we do need an offensive coach, which I've been saying all along, but you need an offensive coach that can put some sort of defense on the field that's halfway decent.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's where a name like Gary Patterson comes into play. But, Brad, we've heard this $6 million a year number kicked around. Is there any validity to that as far as what you're hearing?
Yes, yeah. I think that there's some validity to that. I think there was a report that came out just a couple weeks ago that the Board of Trustees actually had approved a $6 million budget for a coach. And here's the deal. You've got the big-time TV contracts now. You've got ticket prices as high as they've ever been at Arkansas for sure, and all across the country for successful teams. And you look at the revenue that's being brought in, and when you can bring in a coach and then bring in a staff for less than $10 million, and that can turn out to be a $70 or $80 million return, that's a great investment, you know. And I think that's the way they're looking at these things these days. And with the SEC and the money that they have with the contracts, it just makes it to where everybody can pay for coaches.
Right. Now, of course, it came down late Friday evening, or I guess early Friday evening, that Jeff Long received a new contract, and some of the numbers, it looks like it could put him over $1 million once all the incentives and things kicks in. How does that relate to the coaching search in terms of, does Jeff Long already have his guy that's been approved, or how does the whole thing relate to the coaching situation?
Well, Wally Hall came out and said in the Democrat Gazette that he felt like that Jeff Long had his man. And I've heard that he has went to the Board of Trustees and said as much to them. I mean, I can't imagine Arkansas giving him a raise without the knowledge, at least, that he's got a guy on the line. Because if he goes out and he hires a dud as a head coach, then why do they give him a raise?
Yeah. That's where I was. That's what I was thinking about this whole thing. If they give him that much money, just and that extension and that guarantee that he's going to be here, they have to know something that we don't know. Right. So I expect that he's got his guy. I just find it so hard to believe that John Gruden, with possibly 9 NFL jobs available, Oregon possibly available, even Auburn and Tennessee. Take your Razorback colored glasses off. It's hard for me to see him taking Arkansas over Tennessee or Auburn, let alone all the other jobs that are available, unless they just can't match the funds that Arkansas would put up, and that's the only way.
I think that's the difference. Number one, you have more of a commitment in athletics than you've ever had before, with Arkansas building facilities that they are, and football obviously being the number one with the football operations facility and all of that. Arkansas, if you remember correctly, Houston Nutt was Arkansas's first $1 million coach, and he didn't get that until 2004. I think Arkansas never paid anybody over $1 million to be the coach, okay? Now we're talking about paying $6 million for a coach, and this is just, 8 years later. I mean, it's astronomical. And like I said, it comes down to the TV deals and things of that nature. But, you know, I've heard Tennessee has had some financial difficulties lately, and Auburn's got to pay $7 million for Gene Chizik to go away. So, I mean, that has to figure into the equation somewhere. It does. It has to. And so I think Arkansas, in the situation that they are right now, even though this season has been a complete bust, them having to pay John L. Smith $800,000 is actually a godsend as far as bringing in the next coach, because they don't have to worry about financial difficulties. They paid the least amount in the SEC as far as a head coach goes in football. So, you know, they saved money this year by firing Bobby Petrino, so they get to put that money toward a new coach and a new staff.
Okay, let's say for the sake of conversation that the $6 million number that's floating around there is absolutely true. We all have our eyes fixated on John Gruden. Question is there anyone else out there that could warrant that type of salary?
Well, I don't think anybody should warrant that type of salary. In fact, last night, 60 Minutes did a piece on college football, and they flat out asked Nick Saban, they said, "Are you worth $5.3 million?" He said, "Probably not." But then he goes on to say, you know, we produce revenue for the school. The football team does this. Merchandising's up 3 times since he went to Alabama. That's the same type of effect that John Gruden would have. Would anybody else warrant that? I don't think so. I can't see us even paying, Mike Gundy, Derek Patterson, Chip Kelly. I've heard his name mentioned. I don't believe it for a second. Peterson, I've heard his name mentioned. Don't believe it for a second. In fact, I believe Gruden over those two. I don't see anybody being able to be paid over $6 million but Gruden because of the cachet that John Gruden brings. Number one, he's won a Super Bowl. You know, a lot of people will point to his NFL record, which was 95 and 81, and say that he's not worth it. Well, that's stupid. Number one, Spurrier had a losing record in the NFL. Nick Saban was right around 500 in his stint with the Dolphins. The transitive property from the NFL, if you're not successful, doesn't necessarily make you not successful in college. And just really the name recognition of John Gruden and he going in and sitting in somebody's living room and saying, you know, come play for the Razorbacks, that's huge. And to be honest with you, if Arkansas does hire him, let's say at the end of this season coming up, which is Friday, and let's say they go ahead and have a press conference Saturday, which I've heard that it could happen. Look at the just the great things that Arkansas can have. They're going to have their head coach on Monday Night Football for a month. You know, just sitting there. You know, and I'm sure they're going to talk about that. You know, hey, you're going to Arkansas, this and that. Good luck with all that. That's going to be mentioned. Arkansas is going to be in the forefront. So that you can't even put a price on that, and that's huge. John Gruden also will be able to tell people, I can get you to the NFL. So I don't think that there's anybody else out there that would be worth it. I do think John Gruden would warrant paying that kind of money, even though I don't think he's worth it either.
Man, it sounds good, man. It really does. It sounds very good. You know me though. I'll believe it when I see it. When they have the press conference, I'll be jumping for joy. But until then, I don't buy it.
Well, Mark, you know it's one of those things. Number one, anytime there's an opening at Arkansas, there's always somebody's got a source.
Oh yeah.
And I can tell you right now, under the Jeff Long administration at Arkansas, there's nobody that has real sources.
Exactly.
People don't know what's going on. The only thing that you know that's going on is what Jeff Long allows you to know. And he is just a master at that. So when CBS came out yesterday and said that Arkansas and Tennessee were in a bidding war, I thought, okay, there's got to be something to this because Jeff Long allowed our name to be put out there in that. You know, he leaked it, Gruden's camp leaked it, somebody leaked it to CBS, and they said this on the NFL Today, that Arkansas and Tennessee are in a bidding war to go after John Gruden, which at the same time, if that is leaked out, to me, John Gruden's locked up to be the head coach at Arkansas right now because from all I've heard is, you know, Arkansas's got its man. And so I think if Arkansas' name being leaked out with it, it's very possible that Arkansas does have him locked up. But again, it's one of those things, believe it when you see it. Believe whoever's going to be the next coach, believe it when you see it. Because I don't know how else to go about it. I can't imagine really trying to say, I know John Gruden's going to be the head coach of Arkansas, or I know that Mike Gundy is going to be the head coach, or I know that Gary Patterson will be the head coach. I don't know who it's going to be, but at this point versus any other point in the search, you can say that things look really good for Arkansas to get a very good head coach, and that's something that Arkansas needs to take solace in. Whoever they get right now, I believe Arkansas will have a very good head coach. And look, when you look at the SEC, especially the West, you got to go up against Nick Saban, Kevin Sumlin, Les Miles, which is a fraud, but we'll go ahead and put him out there anyway. Dan Mullen, Hugh Freeze. Ole Miss is the best 5-6 team in the nation right now, hands down, bar none. They are a very good football team. You got to go up against those type of guys. You better have a head coach.
Yeah.
You better have one that can bring it, and that's the task that Jeff Long has right now. He's got to bring somebody in here that can go up against that lineup of coaches, which is brutal.
It absolutely is. Well, Brad, you keep your ear to the ground for us. Let us know what you hear. And hopefully this time next Monday we'll be talking about an Arkansas head coach that we can all be excited about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Brad Caldwell. Always on to give us his up-to-date information that he has regarding the coaching search. He's one of the best as far as keeping a level head about it, but also weeding through the chaff and all the junk that will come out of coaching searches. We're going to hit a break, but before we do, real quickly, need to make mention of something that I was asked to pass along. It's a very good cause that's taking place on Friday at the Razorback LSU game. Russellville wrestling coach Ty Roberts has asked us to pass along information about hogs backing hogs. You heard anything about this one?
No, I haven't.
It was actually on Channel 4 last night. They're still looking for donations for a young man who his wife passed away during childbirth. She had a brain aneurysm, and she passed away, but gave birth to this baby, and now the father and the baby have to pay medical bills. They have to get past this rough situation, and Ty's doing a silent auction during the Razorback game against LSU. It's going to be at Lot 46 in Fayetteville, 8 a.m. till the game ends. They're going to be auctioning off memorabilia. Right now, they've got autographed John Daly things, Kevin Durant autograph, a Darren McFadden ball. They're looking for anything else donation-wise that they can get, and I'm sure that he would love to have any sort of donation that you might be willing to give. Email me, mark@rivervalleyleader.com, if you're interested in this in any way, and I will get you in contact with Ty Roberts, and we will see if we can't help this young man out. It's just a rough situation all around, but we definitely want to help out any way we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that cause succeeds. It sounds like they've got some great items, so if you're going to be up there, go ahead and take part in that auction. And not only will you have a great piece of memorabilia, but you're really going to help a terrific cause. So hope a lot of people get involved with that.
Absolutely. Hey, if you're going to give to somebody, you might as well have a chance to get something out of it.
That's true.
Either way, if you don't get anything out of it, it's a good cause to help somebody out. But get a chance to have a DMAC football, or maybe even something even better. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Maybe somebody will give something really cool and get to help out this situation. So we're going to go to break. When we come back, plenty more on the Sports Blitz.
Your pipe and slippers set out for you. I know you think that it ain't too far, but I hear.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
It doesn't matter what you're looking for, chances are Good Deal Charlie Discount Furniture has it. From living room, bedroom, and dining furniture to one-of-a-kind pieces, Good Deal Charlie has everything. The staff is pleasant and always friendly, so you'll feel no pressure to buy. With new and used furniture for your home or office, you can find everything you need at the best possible prices at 2209 East Main Street in Russellville. Good Deal Charlie.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com. RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Sports Scene of Arkansas offers a wide variety of sporting goods and apparel to meet any athlete's needs. Coaches love the top-of-the-line equipment that gives their players an edge, and parents and fans can't get enough of the high-quality screen printing that allows them to sport their favorite team's logo on jerseys, bags, and hats. Your one-stop shop for embroidery, banners, and much, much more. Visit your local team sports specialists. Sports Scene at 316 West Main in Russellville.
AR Sports present the 2012 River Valley Football Magazine, featuring profiles of local high school football teams, as well as college football previews and player spotlights. Professional photography accompanies top-notch writing throughout to bring you the best locally focused publication in Arkansas. You'll enjoy special tributes to local legends Jerry Aiken and Don Sevier, as well as an exclusive interview with Razorback all-time great Clint Sterner in this year's magazine. Available at fine establishments throughout the River Valley. Pick up your copy of River Valley Football Magazine today.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
You gotta love a Monday on the Sports Blitz. Oh, welcome in RiverValleyLeader.com studios. We hope you've taken time to visit with us on Facebook. Leave us what your thoughts on the coaching stuff that's going on, the coaching carousel, up to 9 NFL jobs that Weldon has outlined could be opened come the end of this football season, and also college football jobs. Auburn, Tennessee, Auburn. I say Auburn, and here my music is playing again, and I didn't ask
Auburn
it to.
music.
Yeah, that's my Auburn's terrible, and I hate them music. Maddie, I still don't really know why this music starts playing on its own. But anyway, that's a production issue that we'll deal with later. Auburn is not open yet, but we all assume that they're probably going to be open. Tennessee announced on, I guess it was Sunday, that
yesterday.
Derek Dooley, Gonzo there, not even going to get to coach the last game. That's kind of a parting shot there for Tennessee to its outgoing coach, Derek Dooley. Arkansas obviously open. Looks to us, and we're projecting a little bit here, that Oregon's Chip Kelly probably going to go someplace else in the NFL. I'd say it's probably a 45 to 50% chance that he's at least going to look elsewhere. We don't know. He may just be trying to work it for a raise, Houston Nutt style. I have to poke at Houston Nutt any chance I get.
You love it. I know you do.
But there have been lots of rumors. Weldon, and the coaching carousel is going crazy right now. It's fun because Arkansas is a part of it, but this seems to be the craziest year in coaching search history as far as I'm concerned.
It really is crazy, Mark, and I've just jotted down a few teams. Now, this is a conservative estimate. I still think teams and coaches who are in decent positions right now, if their season were to go south from here on out, they could be on the hot seat, talking about teams like the Jets and maybe the Titans. I think Rex Ryan and Mike Munchak are safe, but if things took a nosedive, things could change. But, I mean, just look at the San Diego Chargers. I mean, San Diego's a place where I feel pretty confident in saying it's going to be open because they believe in that talent base out there. They believe that they have.
They probably shouldn't.
It probably shouldn't, but I mean, we've always said with San Diego, they've got talent, they've got good players. What happened to Phillip Rivers? He was a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. Now he's been awful. I think Norv Turner is done. I think San Diego is now an attractive job because they have good players. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs, Romeo Crennel. I like him. I respect him. I think he's a good defensive coach. I think he could be out the door. Cleveland with Pat Shurmur. This is a tough situation because I don't think Pat's had a great chance, but with the new ownership now, possibly a new GM, remember Mike Holmgren is out. New GMs, you like to hire your own coach because, hey, my neck's on the line like yours, so I'm going to pick my coach, so I think you could see a change there. Buffalo spent all this money on defense. Mario Williams did all these things. They haven't gotten it done. The Philadelphia Eagles, we don't even have to explain what's going on with Andy Reid. And, of course, the Carolina Panthers, who looked like they were on the upswing. Ron Rivera and Jerry Richardson, kind of a strange deal there. Jerry Richardson, the owner, fires the GM because he didn't want him to hire Ron Rivera as a coach. So that makes me think that Ron Rivera's days are numbered now that the GM's been fired. And that's just a few of the jobs, and that's just in the NFL. We already mentioned Arkansas, Auburn, Tennessee, and college, and there'll be some other jobs we may not see coming. I like Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, but I hear they're growing restless as well. A few other places. We did hear Lane Kiffin was safe. I know some grumblings were going on about
I think that
USC.
he's more safe because nobody else wants him than anything.
It could be true, but, I mean, they've had a disappointing year. So, Mark, the coaching carousel, it is crazy, and coaches could go anywhere. But talking about the coaching search, and we were talking with Brad, and I thought one thing was worth discussing was the value of a coach, because I think we look at a $6 million number and we say that's outrageous. And what my point's always been was I think paying somebody $6 million off the street who's never done it at your place is crazy. But I do think there's something to be said for a coach eventually being worth $6 million. Because when you have a great program and you're winning games, you're making money hand over fist at a place like Alabama, to the point to where $6 million is a drop in the bucket. But the problem I have, and I think you have the same issue, is you need to show me you can do it at my school. You can't just walk in here and get $6 million. I think that's the disconnect. So I believe a coach can be worth $6 million a year, but you got to show me you can do it at my school.
Exactly. Well, and to me, you pay a coach $6 million, and to me, the investment, and you talked about it as an investment, they got to bring in a lot of money to make it really worth that. Because just because the football team brings in X amount of dollars doesn't mean that that's all profit, and doesn't mean that that doesn't help with different. I know there are fundraising things that bring in the money for facilities and things like that, but football is, in a lot of places, and Arkansas is one of them, sort of a supplementary. Like the income, it supplements women's sports. It supplements, other sports that need that time. Arkansas basketball, it eventually, and it's probably getting close to there, where it can not only sustain itself but bring in extra money itself. The baseball team, it's not going to make a whole heck of a lot of money, and Arkansas does very well facility-wise in baseball, building a new indoor practice facility for baseball as well. So football, to me, has got to bring in just a heck of a lot of money to make it worth paying even $3.5 million where Arkansas was. You're going to almost double that. That guy, if John Gruden would be, to me, the only one who would warrant that, and that's not because of what he has accomplished at Arkansas or even in the professional level. Brad talked about his he did win a Super Bowl with somebody else's players, and it was in his first year there in Tampa Bay. He will bring in name recognition wise, and the fact that he can go into a living room after Nick Saban and say, "I'm John Gruden, I won a Super Bowl. Everybody knows me. I've got all this clout." That right there would make it worth. Make him the closest to being worth $6 million of anybody. But to me, Weldon, it's just tough to see paying $6 million for a coach when Arkansas, and I'll look at the numbers here in just a second, doesn't necessarily bring in Texas and Alabama and Notre Dame type money.
Yeah, and I think that's what it would take for me to really justify paying that number. Now, you not only need to make good money, you need to make hand over fist like an obscene amount. And, I know we look at Gruden, and he does bring the cachet and the status and all of that. I think it's great. And, Brad talked about that as well. He listed Steve Spurrier and Nick Saban. The only difference is they won at the college level, then jump to the pros and jump back. I still don't think you can overstate how much of a transition it is to being a head coach in college as opposed to the NFL. You don't get to be just that nose to the grindstone, sun up to sundown, watching tape, doing nothing but football. You're not that guy anymore. You are a father figure. You're a caretaker. You have to worry about time restrictions and violating NCAA rules as far as practice, and you have to keep up with recruiting. And I know you have staff members to help you with that, but still, you're ultimately responsible for that. And I think that can be really sort of a culture shock for someone who hasn't done it. Yes, he's coached in college football before, early in his career, but it's still a little bit of a change when you're a head coach of that, when you're used to dealing with grown men. And when they leave practice, when they leave the facility, they can go do whatever they want to do with their millions. All you care about is making sure they practice and play in the games. It's just different, and I still question whether or not John really wants to do that.
Yeah, to me, we talked about it more than once. I'll believe it when I see it. We'll see how this all turns out. I found the Forbes College Football Most Valuable Teams list. Texas number 1, Notre Dame number 2, Penn State number 3, LSU number 4, Michigan 5, Alabama 6, Georgia 7, Arkansas 8. So Arkansas, current value $89 million, football profit $37 million in profit. That's Bobby Petrino, and that's Jeff Long. And we have to give them a lot of credit for making that happen. And I give both of those two a whole lot of credit for making that happen. But let's look at Alabama's number 6. Arkansas made $89 million in profit, or $89 million
revenue.
Overall revenue. Alabama made 93. Profit, Alabama made 45, and Arkansas made 37. So it's $8 million difference there between Arkansas and Alabama. But let's look at Texas, who they pay Mac Brown a pretty penny themselves. $71 million in profit, $129 million total. That's a huge difference in how much they actually bring in to the school and the value of that program. To me, it's very tough to justify. But if anybody can do it, and Jeff Long, and Brad said it a minute ago, Jeff Long's the guy. He's a genius as far as that goes, and whatever he does, I'm going to trust his numbers and his business savvy because he's very good at it.
He is, and I do want to kind of transition into something, and if you can go ahead and pull up our poll question if you got anybody on that, because it does beg the question, what does it take to win at Arkansas as we try to narrow down who the coach would be? And I think you have to first look at what does Arkansas bring to the table, what are our advantages, what are our challenges. I've heard Jeff Long speak to this a lot. Arkansas's advantages, financially, I think we're competitive with the top 10 teams in the country as far as finances. We're not at the top, as you just outlined, but we're very competitive. You talk about the fan base, whether sometimes our fans make some off-the-handle assessments of things. Either way, they're very passionate and supportive people. You can't deny that. So you've got resources, you've got donors, you've got a great fan base. Now the challenge is, we don't have a lot of great players in this state. We just don't. That's not knocking Arkansas high school football. We have good coaches. We have players that give effort. We don't have elite athletes in this state to sustain a top 10 college football program in America. So I don't think Arkansas will ever win by recruiting. Everybody says, we got to find somebody that can recruit. I don't think recruiting is the way to win at Arkansas. Even Butch Davis, who I think as far as recruiting may be at the top of the list, John Gruden as well, I don't think you can recruit your way at Arkansas. I think you're still going to have to depend on bringing players in, putting them in positions to succeed, developing their talents almost the way Bobby Petrino did. I mean, we talk about we got to recruit Texas. Anybody can just reach in Texas and get a handful of players. But what kind of players are you getting from Texas? Because right now what we're seeing is we're recruiting Texas, but it's after Oklahoma, Texas, A&M, Oklahoma State, after they've picked over everybody. Texas is a huge state, but there's only so many good players to go around. I don't want us having to depend in our football program living and breathing on third-rate Texas athletes.
That's probably the best point that I've ever heard as far as Arkansas and what it's going to take out of a coach to compete. You've got to have somebody who can go into the living room of a prospect. The thing is, you're going to have to take some guys from Nick Saban and Les Miles. You're going to have to win some of those battles, especially those in Arkansas.
Right.
You can't have Alty Tenpenny going to Alabama.
Right.
You can't have Michael Dyer going to Auburn. That type of thing has to stop. You can't lose your best players to the other states unless, Kyle Frazier,
I was thinking
he wasn't going to fit the system. I understand that. Yeah. Let him go because you got Brandon Allen and you liked him better for the system anyway. But when it's a guy like Michael Dyer, when it's a guy like Alty Tenpenny, you can't have them going on to Alabama and beating you for 4 years. That's just not something that you can have. So you have to win some of those battles, but at the same time, you've got to have somebody who's a special breed to win in Arkansas. And it's like you said, it's not going to be about out recruiting these guys consistently because it's not going to happen.
Right.
You're going to have to beat them. Your facilities are top notch. Those types of things work for you, but you're also going to have to develop players the best way that you can. And man, we'll talk more about this on Wednesday. We've got a whole lot of show, not a whole lot of time to do it. So on Wednesday, we'll hit the NFL. We didn't even talk to you about our power rankings and kind of pump those up and what happened this weekend in the NFL. Some crazy stuff took place tonight on Monday Night Football. You've got the Bears and the 49ers, so we'll definitely talk about the NFL and some more of this stuff on Wednesday. Maybe we'll have some more information as far as the coaching search goes. We do need to pass along the Razorback basketball team won 112-63 yesterday over Longwood. BJ Young, 23 points in his season debut. So the Razorback basketball team got off on the right foot, Weldon. They got 4 games in 7 days, though.
Yeah, they're in this Las Vegas Invitational. They've got Florida A&M coming up tomorrow, so we'll see what they do. And you mentioned big Monday night game. Now both starting quarterbacks out. I thought Alex Smith would play. Now he's out. Of course, Jason Campbell in for the injured Jay Cutler, so that'll be a slugfest on Monday night or tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah.
So we'll be back on Wednesday, and we will talk plenty more about this. Thank you for joining us today. We're glad you've chosen to be with us. We'll be back on Wednesday for our final show of the week, and then we'll have a best of on Friday. Just a busy holiday week. Thank you for joining us today on the Sports Blitz.